The Quality Review Rubric really shows its value when applied by teachers and educators at all levels. It allows for deeper discussions specifically focused around integrating Common Core standards in classroom instruction.
I've used the Quality Review Rubric in a couple different capacities. The first one is we took a lesson that was designed by a teacher specifically according to the Common Core state standards. We went through and we assessed the lesson according to the different dimensions outlined in the rubric, seeing what their strengths were, what areas of improvement could be used for designing future lessons. And then the next thing we did was we were given the opportunity to create our own lesson based on the feedback we had given before and the different areas of improvement. So we actually were able to design a template, a lesson template that corresponded with the rubric, identify all the specific areas, the requirements, and then most recently we were given the opportunity to go, again, based on the template that was created, assess a new lesson that had been designed.
I created a lesson and then got feedback from a small group of teachers, and going through the rubric and checking off each of the components in the different dimensions, I realized that in my planning I had left some things out. Talking and working with other teachers was really helpful in filling in the missing components.
All right, so then the second one is, does it include a clear and explicit purpose for instruction?
Well, that would be under the skills, I believe, what students will do. So students will read actively, take margin notes, annotate text. Students will produce a written response in the Step Up to Writing format with a topic sentence, quotations, and evidence. So I think that's clear.
Yeah, I agree.
As a teacher, I think that when we meet in our data teams, when we meet in our, other people call it critical friends groups, we can have that richer discussion of exactly how we are going to meet the goals of our units and how each of those lessons fit in with those unit goals. So how is it exactly that each individual lesson is aligned to the Quality Review Rubric, and how those in turn are also, because the rubric does align to units as well, how they dovetail into that, that unit. In addition, how those cause us to look at each individual aspect of the lesson and get us to consider whether or not we're including reading, whether or not we're including academic vocabulary, if we're including options for analyzing nonfiction texts and bringing those in, if we're really looking at if they're having an opportunity to speak and discuss about what they're learning. The Quality Review Rubric will ask us those questions and really ensure that we include those elements into our lesson design.
So now the next one is, do we integrate reading, writing, speaking, and listening?
So that students apply and synthesize advancing literacy skills.
So we have, they'll read actively, they'll take margin notes, so going through the text.
And then you have the writing that they're going to write.
The written response.
Written response to Step Up.
Is there a breakdown of the student activities during the lesson? So is there a place where students will be speaking?
I don't think we have speaking on here. Students present background knowledge to class.
So,
which is
there's a discussion of background information in student groups.
Where's that?
Under
instructional strategies
Okay.
envelope. So they will discussion of background. So we don't. I guess we don't know the format for the discussion.
And then they're doing
so
peer
we can make
group
that more clear.
written responses.
Okay.
So the format for discussion.
And
or presentation, I guess, if we're gonna cover it that way.
And then the listening skills, you do have in a similar regard that they're going to be discussing, so they're going to have listening skills there, and they're going to be doing the peer group edit written response. But
that could be written.
Yeah.
That was a written response. So maybe we could tie in a collaborative peer feedback or something like that. So after they provide the written response, they also have to share their
good idea
feedback.
I think one of the ways it has most helped me in my own instruction is having the opportunity to design the template really highlights the specific areas of focus we need to include in our own lessons. One of the biggest transitions from the Oregon State Standards over the Common Core is the level of rigor necessary for students. And not only rigor, but the variety of skills students have to demonstrate. So it's no longer they're simply writing or they're simply reading. There's a collaboration between all of the different skills. And so making sure that students are incorporating the reading and the writing skills, but also being able to speak is a really big thing. And then everything in the language arts class has to be tied back to the text. So it's no longer, can you summarize the passage or can you make personal connections? It's really about what is the author's purpose? How can we apply these to more in-depth, more rigorous concepts? So that for me has been a really big help.
Textbooks and instructional materials have been reviewed for a long time. We're at a juncture, an opportunity where we can collaborate with other states to identify low-cost or free instructional materials. But in addition to that, the kinds of services and tools that we want to use for the next generation of instruction. And those tools need to support teachers in their process of teaching and students in their process of learning and save time. This review process and the tool, the rubric, strives to support teachers in saving them time in identifying quality instructional materials, lessons, units, and types of assessments that support instruction, and students in the process of learning in terms of the identified resources that are of quality that can save them time in achieving the Common Core State Standard goals.
Since the Quality Review Rubric has been developed, teacher teams in over 22 states are now using this. In Oregon, think about the opportunity that teachers would have being able to come together to talk about their classroom instruction, to look at the actual lessons, units, and assessments that they're giving to students.